Well, Congress will hold a hearing about MK Ultra next week. Representative Luna announced this recently. Now, she has a reputation for looking into old conspiracies that turned out to be true and watering them down. So let's lower our expectations of what will happen in a congressional hearing. Recall her big revelations about JFK assassination. But still, this is the government acknowledging that MK Ultra is real. As a reminder, MK Ultra was a covert CIA program that ran for decades. It was focused on mind control, behavior modification, and interrogation techniques with experimental drugs like LSD, sensory deprivation, hypnosis. It was often conducted without the consent or knowledge of the people involved. Now, I'm talking about it as if it's past tense. We all know it's really not, and we're going to get to that. But a lot of the program still remains quite murky because the CIA destroyed large portions of the records in the 70s. What we do know came out of congressional investigations, whistleblowers, and surviving documents. So yes, this is a conspiracy that turns out to be real. What we will learn from Congress, I have tepid expectations for. So what will we learn? Well, Kevin Shipp joins us. He is a CIA whistleblower. He's the author of Twilight of the Shadow Government, How Transparency Will Kill the Deep State. He has been talking about government programs like this for decades, for years now. So thank you for joining us.
Hi, Clayton. Hi, Natalie. Thanks for having me.
Great to see you.
Great to see you.
So what do you think that we could learn about MK Ultra, and why do you think the government is admitting this now?
Well, Anna Paulina Luna started the process, as you said so well, starting to examine some of these conspiracy theories. So hats off to that. But as usual, it's almost impossible to go deep into a CIA special access program like MK Ultra was. And of course, they claimed that the program was ended in 1973. So why are they bringing it up 50 years later? I think it may be an attempt by Congresswoman Luna to look into this. I hope so, and I hope they have the courage to dig deeply. We know that during MK Ultra, at least 10,000 documents were destroyed that we know of. The CIA claimed to end the program in 1973. They claimed to end it. There was no evidence ever that they actually did. And Victor Marchetti, author of The CIA and the Cult of Intelligence, which was a very accurate title, Marchetti said in his view, they continued the program just under another cover name. Now, we have to understand that the same dark system of secrecy that the CIA has been functioning in since its creation in 1947. That same system of deeply layered special access programs still remains today. It hasn't changed. The CIA has never been reformed. Even the oversight committees, quote unquote, that are supposed to be reforming the CIA have done nothing. As a matter of fact, the oversight committees meet once a year, less than any other committee. They're more concerned about their reelection than they are about digging into the CIA and risking their careers like Frank Church did. He was threatened and he lost his career. And the oversight committees have to sign a CIA secrecy agreement, which threatens them with prison if they divulge anything. They tried that with me as a weapon instead of its real intent. So we have to understand the system, the matrix of secrecy that the CIA still has and still operates in. It has a bloody and deceitful track record, one of which is MK Ultra. We also have to understand, too, with Operation Paperclip, Alan Dulles falsified the files of Nazi war criminal scientists, scrubbed them and gave them to Truman so he would approve them. Some of those scientists came in, were hired by the CIA and used by the CIA for guess what programs? MK Ultra, for starters. These are scientists that had done mind control experiments on men, women, and Jewish children. One of the most deceitful and despicable things that could have been done. Has the CIA changed its mode of operation with no morals and basically will do anything necessary to gain intelligence? Absolutely not. I was in there. I saw that personally. Can we believe the CIA has terminated this program? No, we cannot. Can we reach a conclusion that perhaps they continued under a different special access program, something similar to MK Ultra? and I know they still have a behavioral science unit, by the way. Would they continue with something like this under a new special access program? I think we could conclude, based on their deceitful and bloody track record, that they would. Now, I have interviewed the daughter of John Warner, who was Richard Helms, the DCI at the time. John Warner was the legal counsel, the general counsel for Richard Helms, trying to protect him from lawsuits and trying to protect him from perjury charges and other things. And Carol told me that her dad resigned from the CI, Office of General Counsel, which is a powerful position and many times complicit with what the CI does. She said her dad got so disgusted with what Richard Helms was doing, including MK Ultra, that he literally resigned from the CI and left his position. Carol has told me in an interview that she has had several patients that she has counseled with that exhibit MK Ultra like damages, psychomental damages, and she is convinced they're linked to MK Ultra, and that is today. We're doing a documentary on that in the next few months and get in that in more detail. So, can we conclude that MK Ultra exists today? Well, based on the CIA system of secrecy, it's gross abuse of power and unaccountability through plausible deniability and these things. Can we conclude that they would do this? Of course they would. There is no indication that they've changed anything in their system, and anything regarding their use of special access programs, and anything regarding human rights or ethics. And human life is cheap, as we all know, with the CIA. So could MK Ultra be continuing today in a different form? I would say yes. We could conclude that just based on some of their past performances and how they operate.
And operating outside of the CIA through NGOs and other facilities now, rather than just being in the CIA umbrella. I just spoke this morning. It was unbelievable to an MK Ultra whistleblower. That interview is going to be coming out very, very soon. And some of the things that he told me were absolutely jaw-dropping in the experiments on children. Just absolutely horrifying things. And it's continuing. His biggest concern about this hearing that is upcoming is that, yes, it will be basically like a dog and pony show. And one of his biggest concerns is that there will be sabotage. That in the same way, like the book Mirage Men, where you have individuals purposely trying to sabotage these hearings by putting in false information in order to color the entire thing. Are you worried about that as well?
Absolutely, and I don't want to be pessimistic, but I don't think that these hearings are going anywhere based on what I know of how the CIA operates and conceals information from Congress. And these people will not have the CIA clearances that will be required for some of these special access programs, so they're never going to see those. Now, we have to remember, you made a great point, Clayton, about the CIA using cutouts. In MK Ultra, the CIA used 81 different institutions. There were universities, there were hospitals, and big pharma to do their dirty work and their research, and none of these universities knew that they were working for the CIA. We saw something recently very similar with COVID. We know now that the CIA was instrumental in developing, with Johns Hopkins University, the COVID lockdowns and rollout propaganda program. I don't know if Johns Hopkins knows they were involved. Well, they do now. But so the CIA continues using universities as cutouts without their knowledge. So we know they're still doing that.
Wow, that's unbelievable. 81 of them, and they don't even know that they're working for the CIA. They're just carrying out these operations and these experiments. Unbelievable.
Now, something you've talked about a lot is directed energy weapons, because you have felt like your family was targeted by directed energy weapons. You detail this in your book. Yesterday was May the 4th, so, Star Wars Day. People are thinking about directed energy, using the Force, and so on. And then the U.S. government put this out, saying directed energy weapons are a fine addition to our arsenal. May the 4th be with you. And I felt like, wait, they're just saying that they do it now because that used to be a conspiracy. I mean, we know that it's a thing, but how did you feel seeing that?
Well, it was pretty astounding. We know that we were put in I blew the whistle, as you guys know, on a CIA cover up without the CIA knowing it. I worked with Department of State IG, who publicly rebuked the CIA for covering this thing up. So I was targeted from that, and as the book goes on, and want to go into detail, but I was targeted. We were placed in a badly contaminated house. The CIA knew it was contaminated, and the family got physically ill. But the strange part, especially with my oldest son, was a dramatic, almost within a day or two, personality change. He was diagnosed clinically, and I have that in the book, with severe PTSD. Which essentially ruined his ability to work and his financial life, and he disappeared. Matter of fact, for the last 2 years, I didn't know where he was. Well, we're now in contact, and I have found him, which is wonderful. But there's no doubt about the fact that we were hit with something. My wife at the time was bedridden. She was on morphine. She completely lost her short-term memory. Was having headaches so severe. As I mentioned, they had her on morphine. We had a CAT scan done without the CI knowing it. There was no indication of any tumor or any brain anomalies. So we were hit hard with something. There's no question about that. And would the CIA do it? Well, we all know, of course, they would. And why has the CIA been so resistant in acknowledging the existence of directed energy weapons? They haven't said they don't have them. They just said that, well, the Havana syndrome is something that we think is just in these officers' heads. We don't take it seriously. But they didn't come out and say they didn't exist, and they didn't come out and say they weren't using them. Once again, here we go, CIA, lying like a serpent to the people again. So they exist. Something hit us and hit us badly. Almost ended the life of my oldest son and my former wife, who still is recovering today. So yes, I think they do exist.
I just want to say,
I'm so glad you've.
Yeah, we just learned that that your son Joey, so you've been able to find him. That's
Yes.
Unbelievable. So congratulations on that. That was
Thank you.
Must have been absolutely horrible for you. And you talk about, of course, in the book, these directed energy weapons. Again, speaking to different MK Ultra whistleblowers who were in the program, and they were paid through facilities with the CIA to carry out these programs. And when they were starting to blow the whistle on this, they were hit with directed energy weapons as well, to the point where walking down the street hit enormous headaches, vomiting on the ground, to the point where their minds haven't worked properly since, as they've described it to me. And you hear this across the board. Is that similar to what you experienced?
Yes. We had, all of us, including my younger children, had severe headaches. My wife's headaches were so bad, they had to put her on morphine, as I mentioned. And we would be sitting there, and all of a sudden, both of us hit this. And my current wife never recovered, and she's so afraid of the CIA. I'm asking her to come out and give an interview, but she's too afraid to do that yet. My current wife and I, we've been followed. We've had people sitting outside our window watching us. Even these years later, she and I were sitting in the living room one day, and boom, all of a sudden, we both at the same time went into this deep depression for no reason. And we're a very happy couple on an off-the-grid farm, and it lasted 2 full days. We were like, "What the heck is this?" And boom, it was gone. So they will use these on people that they think are a threat. We know they monitor the emails of whistleblowers. John Brennan was caught doing that. And so, yes, severe headaches are one of the indications of some sort of energy weapon hitting our brain, which is basically a complex energy circuit. And that is one of the symptoms is severe headaches, mental confusion, a loss of memory, and things like that, which I'm sure some of these targeted people have experienced.
It is so vast and so large. And one of the concerns about MK Ultra is the Manchurian candidates. I know it sounds like a movie, but it's real. And according to the sources we've spoken to, and I'm sure you can confirm this, there are these Manchurian-controlled candidates that are basically running large portions of our government. They're involved at the highest levels of places like Lockheed and Boeing and other places, and in our government, who have gone through and have been mind-controlled and who are operationally controlled through this program. Would you confirm that?
Yes, I would say that. So I was trained in the CIA with a master's level degree on forensic psychophysiology and control and manipulation of the human mind. I have since recovered, by the way, since I became a whistleblower. But they absolutely would. The CIA has no morals. It has no values. As I mentioned earlier, human life is cheap, and they have the tools to do this. So would they do it? Yes, they would. Are they doing it? I think they are.
And is there a variety of use cases for something like this to hurt someone they want to hurt and also optimize? I'm thinking obviously of Jason Bourne,
blackmail operations, honeypot operations,
right,
trafficking operations.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. So
absolutely.
Can you expand on that? Because I'm guessing. Tell me what you know.
Sure. No, that was a very good point. Some pundits are out there claiming that the CIA had no relationship with Jeffrey Epstein, which kind of gets my dander up because I know they did. And he was an access agent that the CIA was using to get into his vast global network of money laundering. Buzzy Krongard, the executive officer under George Tenet, his former bank was involved in money laundering. So the place is just evil. And in my book, I've got 10 steps to reform it, as you guys know, and I put many out on X also. But the CIA, if you are thirsty for intelligence, and I'll give you an example. I was leading a team down to a specific country in South America to do an operation. And when you go into that country, the first thing you have to do is meet with the chief of station, who's the director of the CIA in that country. So I dutifully reported to the station, which was down in the basement of a certain building. And I walk in there and the lights are turned down. It's almost dark. The chief of station is sitting behind his desk with one of those green library lamps. And he had a chair facing his desk, and he said, "Have a seat, Kevin." And it's one of those deflatable chairs the CIA likes to use. You sit in the chair and you sink down below, looking up at the guy behind the desk. It's just another mental technique. He leaned over his desk and he said, "Let's get something straight right off the bat, Kevin." I said, "Yes, sir." He said, I will sell my soul to the devil for intelligence. Do you understand that?" And I remember thinking, well, that makes one of us, buddy. I said, "Yes, sir, I understand that." And he said, "Okay, that will be all." And I left, and he proceeded to go behind the ambassador's back and conduct programs that the embassy had not sanctioned. Anyway, there are some wicked, evil people. Now, I have to say this because it's important. 80% of the workforce in the CIA are good, patriotic American people just trying to provide for their families. And they don't know that these special access programs are going on. Not even some of the higher level GS-15s. Well, I know they don't know. They have no idea these programs are going on. It is the upper 20% that are these narcissistic, sick individuals. Even Mike Pompeo, when he came out, said that 20% of the upper management of the CIA doesn't believe in the Constitution. They believe in the expansion, power, and protection of the CIA. And that is exactly correct. These people are sick. They're malignant narcissists. I was on the 7th floor. I was one of William Casey's staff. These people are narcissists. They're sick, and all they care about is their power and expanding the power of the CIA. And so we need to understand that difference because it's important.
Gosh. John Brennan, you brought him up, and before we let you go here, Kevin, whatever happened with that indictment? I mean, according to sources we've been speaking to on this, there was quite a bit of dirt there, really dark things as it relates to Brennan. But now he's got like a broadcasting job on MSNBC. So I'm not really sure what happened there.
Well, think about it. Has ever a CIA director been charged or indicted or investigated ever in our history? I mean, really investigated or charged? We remember the CIA destroyed 10 subpoenaed torture videotapes, and it wasn't just waterboarding. It was ugly stuff. They were subpoenaed. The CIA destroyed them and came out and had the nerve to say, oh, well, they were accidentally destroyed. So Brennan was a director of the CIA, and getting charges or indictments against the director of the CIA it can be done. I believe it can. That's why I wrote my book. But it's extremely difficult because they're so protected by the intelligence apparatus around them. Brennan should have been indicted for breaking in to the Senate torture report skiff and going into the computers and spying on the torture report documents. He should have been indicted for that, but he wasn't, was he? So it's the system, you guys, the upper level system of our government, the system of secrecy that even some congressmen, I'm convinced, are part of, that blocks and stops these things from happening.
Well, I'm sorry. I know I said it was going to last question, but I got to get you out of here on this, Kevin, which is these more sophisticated weapons they're now using through these cutouts. Forget just human-to-human control, manipulation through sleep deprivation and all the awful things that they were doing to people to get them to have split personalities and using those split personalities for Manchurian Candidate stuff in MK Ultra. What do you believe the tools they're currently using look like? Nanotechnology, 6G, where they don't even have to have face-to-face contact. They can have this anonymity. What do you think that they're using right now?
Yeah, that's an excellent question. They don't even have to go in your house to bug you anymore. So people looking for bugs in their house might as well just give it up. They can eavesdrop on you from outside your house. I can't go into the technology there, but they have that technology. And of course, they have nanobot technology so small that they can create flying cameras that look like insects, dragonflies, and others. And what really concerns me is they have now created the Directorate for Digital Innovation, where the CIA is merging all this over into artificial intelligence, which should scare the daylights out of everyone because they're involved in these programs. And now with artificial intelligence and now with nanotechnology, I mean, God have mercy on us, because there is no limit to what they can do now. And we've got to, as I do routinely, we've got to demand that Congress conducts a real church-like committee and does a legitimate deep investigation in the CIA and breaks the CIA apart, removes its National Clandestine Service, which has all these special access programs, and either creates a new agency or puts it under the DIA. But the only way, it comes down to us, because congressmen and senators, most of them are in the CIA's pocket, and I have proof of that. It's up to us, the American people, to get motivated and demand our congressmen and senators conduct another real investigation of the CIA with the intent of breaking the CIA apart and eliminating its unbridled power of secrecy. We've got to let our congressmen and senators know that if they don't do that, and many of them won't because they're in the CIA's pocket, then we are going to vote them out of office, and we're going to make it clear that's why. And that, I think, is probably our only hope.
Kevin is the author of Twilight of the Shadow Government. If you can put it up here on the screen again, Philip, it's really one of the best books that I've read in years. Unbelievable book. I encourage every American to read it, to really give you an understanding of how deeply dark and demonic this deep state actually is, and Kevin trying to actively end it. So it's a great book. Kevin, great to see you as always, and congratulations on finding your son.
Yes.
That is great news. What we weren't expecting.
Yes, thank you very much, and thanks for having me, guys.
Yeah, great to see you as
Thanks,
always.
Kevin. Great to see you as well. Thank you so much for watching Redacted. We'd love for you to subscribe to the channel. It's totally free if you want to follow us or subscribe. And if we brought you any value at all, please consider sharing this video with a friend or a loved one on social media. Thanks so much, and we'll see you next time.